A surprising new study out this weekend suggests that some of those popular frozen meals that are billed as diet foods may contain more calories than they claim on the label. Apparently, there's nothing wrong with the label. The FDA allows a wide margin of error. Here's consumer correspondent Elizabeth Leamy.
Dieters who rely on frozen meals to count calories could be getting more than they paid for, literally. Nutrition scientist Dr. Susan Roberts found that out herself when she tried dieting by eating packaged foods and couldn't lose weight.
I came into the lab one day and I said, something's not right. You know, I don't feel like I'm on a diet. I'm not losing any weight. It can't be sodium. It has to be calories.
University researchers tested 10 different frozen meals for calorie count and found 3 were under, 4 were very close, and 3 by some of the same manufacturers were over. The small study found Weight Watchers lemon herb chicken piccata had 21% more calories than listed. Lean Cuisine shrimp and angel hair pasta was over by 28%. And Bell & Evans grilled chicken breast was 31% over.
The calories are on the box, and you eat them thinking that you've got the right number of calories and then you don't lose weight. You know, you'll blame yourself eventually.
Tufts only tested 1 sample of each meal. By contrast, when federal investigators conduct testing like this, they're required to test at least a dozen samples before penalizing a manufacturer. Why? Because food is naturally variable.
By law, packaged foods are allowed to contain 20% more calories than the label lists. And they're allowed, in fact, required to state 0, even if they have up to ½ a gram of a damaging nutrient like trans fat. It all makes dieting daunting.
It makes me pretty angry because I actually want to lose weight, not gain weight.
3/4 of our population are overweight. So you really do need to be accurate because people need help.
The study authors say if an average person were to regularly eat meals that were just 5% higher in calories than they thought, they could gain 10 pounds in just a year. For Good Morning America, Elizabeth Leamy, ABC News, Washington.
And here to guide us through all these confusing calorie counts is nutritionist Heidi Skolnick. Good morning, Heidi.
Good morning.
So the FDA regulations, as we just heard, they give this really wide leeway to companies for labeling. Why is that? I mean, why? We called them, by the way, and we asked them to explain the regulation, and they had no comment. Can you help us understand why?
So then you called me?
Yeah, I called you.
FDA or Heidi Skolnick. Well, as I was said in the piece, you have to understand that food is variable. Like even if you had 2 apples, right, they're not going to be exactly the same. So if you're eating real food, which is why restaurant food has even a high, on average, you saw it was higher than most of the box foods.
Right.
Because
the study found that even at restaurants, at some chain restaurants, it was up to, I think, 18% variable on what they said. They say this meal is going to be this much, and it's 18%.
But if you're preparing fresh food and you put in a little bit more oil, 1 teaspoon of oil would be 50 calories. So it's, you know, you have 2 pieces of chicken. One might have a little bit more fat or a little bit leaner. One might be just 1 ounce larger. That's going to lead to a variation.
But if you're going to the freezer or you're going out to one of those chain restaurants and you're thinking, I'm being so good, I'm going to have the, you know, the salad with the pecan crusted chicken and it only has X calories. Are you worried about dieters? Are you worried that people are going to suffer by this?
Well, I think if you are smart about how you look at a menu and you begin to look at those not the variations in terms of what it says. Like if it says that pasta fettuccine, right, is 1,200 calories and it turns out that it's 1,400, but you could have chosen the pasta with red sauce. I mean, that variation isn't what is causing you to, and the portion is larger than your torso. That should be your first clue, right?
So you're saying it's not necessarily, you're not worried that it's the labeling that's going to cost people a lot of it's the choices that we're making.
Most people, the reason most of us are overweight, and I include me when I say us, right, is that we overeat. You need to exercise more. You need your choices over time, the trends of the choices that you make, more fruits, more vegetables. It's not because your lean cuisine said 300 and you actually ate 330 calories.
Well, but as we said, even if it's just a little bit of difference, you could gain 5 or 10 pounds over the course of a year just by eating lean cuisine and thinking you're doing
well, that's
something like
if over the course of a day you overconsume from what your required calories are, 100 calories every day conceivably can add up to 10 pounds a year. That's very significant. But that's assuming that when you choose that food, you are actually monitoring your intake so closely to each bite, because really 30 calories can end up being that last bite of food. So if you pay more attention to your portions, your choices over time, be active. Really, most of us don't eat exactly the same amount every day. Natural variation with even in our bodies allows us some room each day. Our metabolism speeds up a little or slows down to allow us to be weight stable. People who are really struggling with weight, it's great to have labels. It's great to understand and begin to use those labels to compare which foods. But interestingly, in the study, one of the other things they found was it wasn't really the entree, it was the side dishes that aren't counted. So let's say you get a piece of broiled salmon, but you get cheese fries with it.
Right.
The cheese fries are more than the entree.
Okay, so it's not all about the label. Heidi, thank you so much. Appreciate it.